So good morning everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning.
Morning, sir.
So very few students are there, but we will start as per the time. So welcome to this online artificial intelligence class. We have already completed 14 sessions, and this is the 15th session. And again, we will continue what actually we discussed yesterday. We have few other trends that we have to discuss today, like what is common sense reasoning? Is common sense reasoning is also a trend of AI? Fuzzy systems itself is one of the trend that was listed. Even in the textbook also we can find a common sense reasoning or common sense mechanism is a current trend of AI. Fuzzy systems is a trend of AI, and expert systems, soft computing, neural network, genetic algorithms, all these are listed in your textbook as the current trends in AI. So we'll discuss that part because this part is very important, because what actually happening in front in the terms of what actually in the happening in the latest trends, we need to follow the trend, and you need to also find out what is actually happening at this moment. So I think this class will be also interesting as yesterday class, but all these classes are simple. Most of the discussions that will happen, it looks like already we have discussed, but this is what the syllabus is. We are going with respect to the syllabus, but at some point of time I will add some things like Spark. Today's class I have added a term called as Spark, which was not there in your textbook, where somebody wished to go for a distributed computing aspect in the terms of creating clusters, you have to go for a Spark. So can this Spark supports Python, something like that? I have some questions every session which will create some ambience towards artificial intelligence. That's what my aim is. So today's class is also very simple, but we will see the most important trends in AI. But before seeing this, the current trends in AI, yesterday we have seen some trends. But if you wish to understand the trends in AI, we need to also know about what is artificial intelligence, what is machine learning, what is deep learning, why we are going for deep learning. These concepts I kept in two slides that we will discuss. Then we'll go to this current trends in AI. So what exactly we have done in the last class is, just I will see, just I'm going to the next slide. We are talking about trends in AI in the terms of, we have a chat bot called as Eliza, where Eliza can interact with people with voice or in text to mind the to find the particular mindset of a person at that moment. Apart from that, Eliza has different versions, not only two versions that yesterday we are discussing. Eliza can be a part of a bank where somebody wish to open an account. Eliza will tell you what are the procedures that they have to follow. Can they see? I wish to have a fixed deposit. This Eliza can tell me what are the rules for this fixed deposit. What are the interest? How many days minimum you have to have it, and everything. It will tell. It's a chatbot. And yesterday we are also discussing about robotic process automation. In this, I said if you wish to be part of RPA, or like, because there is a huge scope in RPA, because most of the people who does not want to program more, they can go for RPA. You can learn RPA from UiPath or Automation Anywhere, or you can get it from Blue Prism also. Many other companies are there, but we will prefer UiPath and Automation Anywhere. So RPA is the most important trend that is happening in AI, and we also discussed about robotics yesterday. Robotics is a vital part of artificial intelligence, where you could see the existence of artificial intelligence live. We can give that example as robotics. We have also seen a crowd counting system where automatically a video will be processed, and for every 30 seconds it will tell you how many people are there in that video, and it will also give you who are the abnormal people or what are the abnormal actions. It will identify you At the same time, it will notify to the administrator immediately. All these are automatic systems. They process video, and at the same time they will also alert the people, particularly in the administration, to take appropriate actions at appropriate time, instant actions. So we also discussed about COVID. Like many of the solutions to mitigate the COVID are proposed by using deep learning. Whether you process X-rays by using CNN or RNN, or if you wish to have a mechanism where you need to monitor whether the employees are practicing the social distance or masks or not. If the mask is there, if the mask was kept properly, or the mask position is not appropriate with respect to the mouth and nose, this part also we have many AI mechanisms. It is now reaching 800 plus different mechanisms to incorporate various aspects of COVID. And also we said speech recognition is also a trend of AI, because most of the applications, I can say not most, in every application we need. Even now the robots that we could see in the roads also, they can process speech. So we discussed about truth maintenance system yesterday. Like the what does your truth maintenance system will do is it will process set of statements and it will give you the inference in the terms of quantification. Like the possibility of A doing this crime is 30%, the possibility of B doing this crime is 40%. How do you get that 40%? What is the alibi that they have taken? What is the confession they have taken? And how from that confession, how did you get to these conclusions? All these things we have are a part of truth maintenance system. And blackboard system will, it's an environment where it will what it will do is it will collaborate various experts to provide solutions for expert tasks. And I also said probability, incorporating probability with AI is also a trend, because without probability most of the time we cannot talk about a dynamic database, because every time when you talk about dynamic database will be augmented with a certainty factor. Certainty factor, again, it is a probability. This is what yesterday we are talking about. So today class, what is that we do is we just have a snapshot of a diagram that was taken from Gary Kasparov. So this is what the you it was taken from this Gary Kasparov textbook regarding what is AI, what is ML, and what is DL. So artificial intelligence is the way in which we try to mimic the nature of human beings and try to think like a human being. So that is what A is. A is more theoretical actually. A is more theoretical. So machine learning, what that machine learning will do is machine learning will try to train a machine with some examples. Without explicitly programming, how can you design a model? This is what your machine learning will do. When people talk about machine learning, they will talk about some classifiers. When they talk about classifiers, they will talk about some classifier called as supervised, and sometimes they will also talk about unsupervised classifiers. So we are not getting into what is supervised and what is unsupervised. But I wish to tell, if somebody wish to implement machine learning at a lower level, or in other case, like if you wish to implement artificial intelligence with minimum data and minimum features, people will go for a machine learning. See, I have given you 100, same thing I am doing. I am just telling you, I am giving you 100 images, and you are asked to differentiate a car and animal. It's very easy for the system to differentiate. But if somebody asks you what type of car it is and what type of animal it is, what is the difference between cat and rat, then the problem will come. How do you choose the appropriate features which can distinguish these two cars, at the same time distinguish two animals? And when number of features that are needed to find or to identify some person in the terms of futures, it's very difficult. So what does people will tell you is, when deep learning is a deep neural network, what does your deep learning will do is, when the data is more and number of futures are more, then go for deep learning. So you, if you wish to understand this fuzzy systems, neural network, the basics, I think this has to be in your background. So this is the reason this slide was taken from some textbook and I kept here. So all these are subsets. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, and your deep learning is a subset of machine learning. But your interest, my interest is something like, if somebody wish to implement artificial intelligence, they cannot implement in the innate fashion. They cannot do it ordinarily. They have to go for either machine learning algorithms or deep learning algorithms. Many learning algorithms are there. You can go for decision tree algorithm or random forest algorithm, k-means algorithm. Many other algorithms are there. In deep learning also many models are there. You can go for CNN, you can go for RNN, Bayesian belief network. Many things are there. But your intention is, what is this? If you know what is the difference between deep learning, machine learning, that is good. And if you know that machine learning and deep learning will implement some aspects of artificial learning, that is well and good. But this will give you more intuition. Like, this is very important actually. So most of the people, like, can you see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So most of the people are like, you ask your seniors who have written the exam yesterday, or you ask your seniors who has just cleared that round in micro, where that interviews are happened on August 16th. So most of the projects your seniors has done, or most of the real-time projects that people are doing in the terms of deep learning. So many people will ask you, why you have machine learning was there, why you have to go for deep learning. This deep learning and machine learning is not part of our syllabus. But since we need to come out of the syllabus and have a perception of different perception or different visualization of AI, this slide I have kept, so that you will also know what exactly deep learning is. See, most learning algorithms that was written here, the meaning is, most of the machine learning algorithms, just a minute. So most of the machine learning algorithms, what they do is, when the data is small, your performance is a plateau. The meaning is, it is static performance. But if you see the deep learning methods, what is that you can observe is, when the data is more, the performance of this deep learning algorithms is also more. Just a minute, I'll just erase everything so that it will be good. So what is that you need to just infer from this slide is, when the data is getting increased, your deep learning algorithms performance is static. But you see the deep learning algorithms, when the data is increased, the performance is also getting increased. It is a rare quality of a classifier. In general, while you implement k-means algorithm or decision tree or random forest, what will happen is, when the data is more and the performance will be less. But the deep learning algorithms, they have an innate property of creating deep neural networks, where that will attract. What will happen is, when the data is more also, this deep learning algorithms will give a better performance compared to the machine learning algorithms. So if some girl wish to work on stock market prediction, people use a term called as LSTM, long short term memory, is a deep learning mechanism, or some of the people can use RNN, recurrent neural network. That is a deep neural network. It's a deep learning mechanism. So nobody will use a K-means algorithm. If I use a K-means algorithm, even though the data increases, even the futures increases, what will happen is I will get only this part. I will get the same performance whether the data is small or big after reaching this critical point. So these two slides I kept only to discuss about and understand the different dimension of artificial intelligence. We'll go to the exact part of this class now. So these are the current trends in AI with respect to what we could see in the textbook as well as in the terms of real time. Can somebody unmute yourself and tell about what is the disadvantage of AI system? Because I felt most of the people are not reading the textbook because we are not discussing the disadvantage of AI. Most of the people cannot answer this. But the main disadvantage that AI will have is it cannot apply common sense. This is the disadvantage of AI. That is the reason. Uh, can this common sense can be incorporated into the artificial intelligence systems, AI systems? We have systems like your Sophia is a 30% common sense reasoning mechanism. Can somebody unmute yourself and tell what do you mean by common sense with respect to a machine in the terms of syntax or semantics, whatever it may be? Just try some, just we'll see how people will answer this. What do you mean by common sense? Can machines can apply common sense?
Acting according to situations.
Yes. See, that's what, if you remember, when I'm introducing artificial intelligence, I said when I enter into the class in a D block, outside the class, I could see something called as a learning room. Is it right? Learning room or something will be written outside. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So once the learning room label was processed by an AI system, what it will do is it will take the semantics and it will find out that whatever happens in that class is learning. It cannot apply common sense. See, you can dance in the class, it will take it as learning. You can write an exam, it is a learning. You shout in the class. See, I'm getting some disturbance. So you shout in the class, that will be taken as learning, or you listen to the class, then even then also it will take it as a learning part. So so it's very difficult to train a system to exhibit your common sense reasoning. So the current trend, whatever systems that people now they are developing, they need to have this flavor of common sense reasoning. Apart from that, every system must process voice. That has become it has become a trend and it has become a mandatory condition for AI systems. So most of the people know about these fuzzy systems. Fuzzy systems arises when I'm not able to take decision from the inconsistent, incomplete data. Can somebody take a decision from an inconsistent, incomplete, and partial data? That systems, we call it as fuzzy systems, can take decisions with some probabilities. That is the reason I said if I say a fuzzy system has a value of 0.5, this 0.5 is not a probability. Fuzzy systems will have, every member of the fuzzy systems will have a value between 0 and 1. So all these are not necessary. This will come in your 6th unit. But what is necessary at this point is fuzzy systems are systems that can take decisions with partial and incomplete data. But at this moment, you need to ask us how can the systems are trained and tested to take these partial decisions. What do you mean by partial decisions? So the my intention of the class is like some girl is very interested in building a chatbot. Obviously, by this time she might have started that. Common sense reasoning is a mechanism where the instance of the action changes with respect to time, and how can this the AI system will learn from the environment is common sense reasoning. So if you say like yesterday we have 4 rounds of Capgemini, like we have a pseudocode round, you have a verbal round, you have a game round like puzzle round, and the last one is a simple traditional round. So if you say to an external who has come for an interview, like I'm working in this common sense reasoning, I'm just trying to build some algorithms in this where this system can learn 10% from the changing environment, then obviously you will be your profile will attract more attention than any other profile. So if some girl says I am working on K-means algorithm to accommodate these fuzzy systems, and every time while you talk about fuzzy systems, your dynamic database will come. Apart from that, we take decisions with incomplete and uncertain data. If the definition is clear, some girl, if she is interested, she can take these fuzzy systems and try to analyze what exactly is that, how can we propose fuzzy systems for the existing problems. So fuzzy systems is a current trend, and fuzzy systems is a trend since 10 years. So fuzzy system was also in the textbook. It's a very important topic. So by the time actually when I'm taking the same classes for your seniors, by the time I reach 10 to 12 classes, they started to build a bot, and some girls they started to work on deep learning uh, to address various issues. Some girl has addressed something about Twitter. She has taken the hashtags from the Tiger, and she has done a sentimental analysis, and they will do different things. But my intention is this: taking classes in AA or any other subject is very easier for us. We are doing this AA. I have taken it first time in 2001. So the same subject we are taking and we are getting updated. But the real intention of the expertise of the faculty or the student will come only when some girl is interested to develop some system in the common sense reasoning or some expert system. Expert system is a simple system. Expert system has 7 different steps. For all the seven steps, 7 tools are there. You can take the tools and you can incorporate. If somebody wish to develop an expert system in health sector, almost 6 tools are already there. You need to have a data acquisition model. Data acquisition tool is there. So it is only what is needed is it is the faculty to create some interest in the subject. Slowly what will happen is the students will explore themselves, because expert system will come in the 6th unit. But initially when we create this research ambience or ambience toward the subject, people will do wonders, and this has to get started in your class. It is not started. So expert systems, we spoke enough about the expert systems. The reason is we spoke about Mycin, we spoke about systems that will predict weather, we spoke about systems that predict various changes of stock market, and many other expert systems we have discussed. So if somebody asks me the trends in AI, you have to list all these things and you explain to some extent. But the general knowledge that you have is more enough, because nobody knows what is a fuzzy system is. People will tell fuzzy system will incorporate real time parameters, that is enough. But how can you take decisions with incomplete data or inconsistent data, whether the values are between 0 and 1, 0.5, what does your 0.5 will tell you? All these things, it is not treated at this moment. But uh, some people like stock market prediction, some people like doing this sentiment analysis on various goods in Amazon or something like that. You can take any application, just try to work on it. Some people can propose bots, chatbots for websites, or for our website itself, how the admissions will happen, how this placements will happen, something like that. So that will add a flavor to your resumes, because yesterday when people are writing that exam called as Capgemini, most of the people have succeeded in the first round, that is called as pseudo code round, where we felt that pseudo code round is more difficult. But surprisingly, what happened is there is a round called as verbal in the next round. In most of the people has failed in that round, because they have not concentrated. They have given a big paragraph, and then the people has to read that paragraph online, and then they have to infer. And most of the people could not do, even in computer science and any other department. So finally, we have arrived only at 115 students got selected after shortlisted after 3 rounds. So that will happen. That will happen. We felt that pseudocode round is very difficult. Then a verbal round also most of the people has failed. So obviously there is a third round. We call it as a game round or puzzle round, and that is just a cakewalk. People can do it. But my intention is something like some girls has written this verbal very well. Some girls has written, most of the girls have done the pseudocode very well. But see, once the pseudocode is gone, obviously this verbal is also gone. Even though she got good marks in verbal or whatever it may be, because all these are went in a sequence. So my intention of telling all these things is, some people will like to develop bots, some people will try to have a classifier, some people will work on Twitter datasets, some people will go for weather forecasting. You could see your senior in the third year itself, she has done a weather forecasting model in AI. So you need to just geared up with this subject. Uh, the syllabus is very simple. You can learn the subject syllabus within 2 or 3 days. Entire 6 units are very simple. So most of the people use this term called as soft computing. Can somebody unmute yourself and tell what exactly is soft computing? Or what will be there in soft computing? Can I say this fuzzy logic is a part of soft computing? Uh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is there any disconnection was there? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay. Thank you. See,
Sir.
yes, I understand now. Before introducing soft computing, what is that I do is, what will be there in soft computing is this neural network I have written is a part of soft computing. Fuzzy logic, what we have discussed earlier, is a part of soft computing. Machine learning is a part of soft computing. I have written something called a genetic algorithms here. Genetic algorithms is also part of soft computing. See, a soft computing, the general definition is, how do you calculate or how do you provide solutions to the complex problems by using some classifiers. The classifier can be a neural network classifier, or it can be a fuzzy logic, machine learning, or genetic algorithms, or ant colony optimization, whatever it may be. So, if you theoretically, if somebody asks me, the answer for soft computing is, if you combine fuzzy logic, neural networks, genetic algorithms, and many other subjects, we call it a soft computing. So, soft computing, it's like a package which consists of all these things. So learning soft computing is more important, because most of the people now learn the soft computing and apply this on big data analytics to which is supported by your cloud. So soft computing was clear, and neural network, we have discussed many times about this neural network. So then the new term that you have is genetic algorithm. Genetic algorithm is a basic algorithm where you have some operations called as mutation and crossover, something will be there. See, what is the basic interest of genetic algorithm is, uh, it will these algorithms will represent every entity in the terms of genes, representation in the terms of genes, and every time when you wish to classify, they will go for a heuristic. Can we combine or can you divide? See, they wish to do something like this. We call the input in genetic algorithms as population. We need more fertile population. So as far as this class is concerned, because genetic algorithms will come again with ant colony and swarm intelligence, so you can just remember the name of genetic algorithm. This is enough for this class, because genetic algorithm, it will take some time, because genetic algorithm is an algorithm which will resemble the human body actually. How does what see, input is called as population, and the encoding is called as chromosomes. So what are the chromosomes? How do you get a effective and fertile chromosomes? How do you get a fertile genes? This part will be there. All this terminology will be biological, but what is that exactly we do is we try to have a rule with highest heuristic. So if you wish to get a highest heuristic rule, you will go for either mutation or crossover. This is what it is. So obviously there is no need that you need to learn at this moment, but you remember the name that genetic algorithm is also a trend, because genetic algorithm is a traditional algorithm. Most of the people now they are using it in artificial immune system. So this term genetic has come from the human body, because every input will be treated as a chromosome, and from the chromosomes and population you get this mutation and crossover. So ant colony optimization and swarm intelligence, both of them have have taken the inspiration from this ant. How does ants will survive? It's and how does the ants will have their home mate, and how does the ant will work? And you have some operations here called as teleoperation and para operations. Some operations will be there, but my interest of this class, as far as these three algorithms are concerned, just remember that you have genetic algorithm and ant colony optimization, swarm intelligence are a part of current trends. Because if you wish to, if I wish to explain these algorithms, I need to explain the operations, and operations it will take some time to understand. So the last trend that we have to discuss today is AI languages. AI languages we have done. Traditional languages are there, we call it as Lisp, and other traditional language is called as Prolog. This Prolog, there is a chance that in Prolog, this Prolog can recognize productions. You can store the knowledge, you can retrieve the knowledge, you can infer the systems. So Prolog in general, when this Python is not had, is called as an AI language, because all the mechanisms that we need to have in AI are the explicit parts of Prolog, whether it is a representation in the terms of your members, or whether it the representation in the form of screens, whatever it may be, the Prolog will represent. Even Prolog can handle your databases also, dynamic databases, with some instances. That instance you call it as certainty factor. So Lisp, Prolog, and Python and R language and MATLAB can be called as AI languages, but for people who are aspiring for developing classifiers, initially they can go for Python. So when we wish to develop deep learning models, generally I will go for Keras and TensorFlow, and all other things will be just common things that we do it in Python. So based on the current trends, I have a question which is very simple. Most of the people have heard a term called as Spark. Spark is an open source distributed framework for cluster. The reason is, whenever people talk about distributed computing, they are talking about cloud computing. Your artificial intelligence was there. What are machine learning algorithms are developed? This machine learning algorithms has to support your big data, because the data is huge. Every day the data will, what it will do is it will increase. So whatever learning algorithms you are studying or whatever machine learning algorithms you are developing, they need to support big data. And whatever wherever the data is there, it will be stored in a distributed structure. And what type of system that will support a distributed system is a cloud computing system. So Spark is a open source distributed cluster computing system. But if you remember, the Spark was written in a language called as Scala. Scala will be looking like Java language. So Spark, you can say it is an open source distributed clustering approach which can support this cloud computing. But the interesting fact is Spark will be was written in Scala, and Scala mostly, if you see the coding, it will be resembling exactly like Java itself. So, what is the connection of Spark with this current trends of AI is whatever application that you develop in the terms of deep learning for COVID, for monitoring whether the people are practicing this social distancing or not, the data every second it gets increased. Now earlier people used to talk about GBs, now terabytes and now gigabytes. So what will happen is the intensity, the velocity of the data, and the capacity of the data is getting increased. So obviously what will happen is this machine learning algorithms has to support big data, and whenever your machine learning algorithms can process big data, we store somewhere. We store that somewhere is generally called as a cloud. So I need a open source platform which will support my AI systems, that is called as Spark. So does Spark supports Python? Means yes. I just I don't remember the exact name, but Spark will support Python. That is called as PySpark or something was there. I just have to verify this. PySpark is there, I think the terminology is right. PySpark was there, where this Python now will support this distributed structure. So what will happen if Python supports Spark is you can just try to have an application which process big data, and this application directly you can what is that we do install in a cloud itself. So what is that you are doing is you have done something in machine learning and you developed something in Python, and this Python program or classifier is getting supporting this big data, and you are installing this in a cloud. And because your Python support this Spark, obviously your open source distributed classifier is ready. So this terminology is like what is Spark, what is genetic algorithm. This may not be needed at this moment as per the theories classes are concerned. But as far as the artificial intelligence demand outside is concerned, it is necessary. Like somebody like you or two or three people wish to develop a distributed application, then obviously you can choose a language called as Python, and you can just have that support for PySpark, and then you can install the same thing in a cloud. So my class has come to an end, but my intention is for the last 3 or 4 classes, what is that I'm trying to tell is something like people can start developing their own applications. This is the high time to think differently, and think different in the terms of how other people will tell. See, I am teaching in this perspective, but we have different perspectives. AI, if you see the definitions of AI or the mechanisms of AI, we have almost 17 different types of mechanisms are there. We have discussed only 4. So you need to come out of the box and just think in a different dimension and different perspective as far as AI is concerned. If most of the people are interested in AI, this is what you have to do. If somebody has any doubts, please unmute yourself. And I'm just requesting everybody to be part of this Microsoft Teams class, because tomorrow or day after tomorrow, obviously this unknown people cannot, there is no chance that they can join the class, because they are restricting to this institute domain, so that only that people can be joined to the class. So please join to this class, so that the disturbance will not be there. And I think people can chat also. Is it right? Is there any chance that you can chat now? Can you use the chat bot? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Sir.
Even see this Microsoft Teams particularly is like a Google Classroom, where you can share the data, you can have this discussion, you can have the quizzes. So for the last few days we are very busy in this particular placement. Now particularly for the last 3 or 4 classes the quiz was not given. So today I will just prepare and I will post it in your Google Class, so that please attempt that quizzes. And most important thing is attempting the quiz is important, but see, out of what was actually happened in the class is very simple, but your perspective or your thinking about the subject has to change. That change will come only when you see, some girl is interested in fuzzy logic, some girl is interested in developing a classifier. Don't just wait until unless the discussions of the class are completed. It is just beginning. Like you can ask your seniors, like they started working on chatbots, they started working on these different types of expert systems, they start working on this weather forecasting in the first semester, yeah, particularly in the before the first mid itself. So obviously I think this class particularly I have seen your profiles yesterday in the campus, so you have a better profiles than what profiles that we have for your seniors. You can start that, and most probably you can develop a better systems than what your seniors has done. That's what I felt. Thank you very much. If you have any doubts, please unmute yourself and you can ask. Tomorrow also we in the morning we have some interviews are there for your seniors. So most probably tomorrow the class will be in the afternoon first hour or in the afternoon last hour. So for a few days like this week the class timings will change, but the classes will not be cancelled. If you have no doubts, please join in the